the first word that just popped in my head would just be proud. It's beyond surreal, beyond incredible to see him, reach the absolute highest level, and he's finding some real success early.
Welcome to episode 299 of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. I'm Joe McFarland. The Canadian Future Showcase is underway at Rogers Centre in Toronto. The best high school-aged products across the country are looking to capture the attention of scouts and college coaches over the next few days. We've had a few news stories up on our websites in recent days based off conversations here on the pod, including Landon Kaufman, Trenton Cooey, Dom Morgan, and Easton Katura. We'll have a few more in the days to come as well. And we have a conversation with Dogs Academy product Max Poirier in just a few minutes. We will also have a full rundown of everything from the showcase on next week's show. A big congratulations to Edmonton Collegiate Blue on winning the Edmonton Fall Invitational last weekend. They downed ATHX Academy 8-7 in the final. If you're aware of other tournaments being held this fall, make sure to drop us a line or tag us on social, as we'd be happy to get the word out. The Western Canadian Baseball League is unveiling its awards this week, and it all started on Monday with the first and second team All-Stars, followed by Jason Chatwood of the Sylvan Lake Gulls winning Coach of the Year Tuesday, while Saskatoon Berries outfielder Carter Beck was named Top Canadian and Rookie of the Year on Wednesday. The Pitcher of the Year and MVP are still to come depending on when you're listening to this episode. On the pro circuits, how about Eric Sabrowski? As we record this, the Absolute Human Performance alum has now made 5 appearances out of the bullpen for the Cleveland Guardians and has yet to allow a run. He's allowed just 4 hits and 2 walks while striking out 11 in just 7 2/3.
Oh yeah, fastball got him looking. Nice pitch mix by Sabrowski.
We'll be checking in with Taylor Burns in just a bit to talk about the last few weeks. Congratulations to Adam Macko on being promoted to the AAA Buffalo Bisons after the AA season came to an end for the New Hampshire Fisher Cats. Unfortunately, the Vauxhall Academy alum had a rough first outing Tuesday, allowing 3 runs on 4 hits and 3 walks while striking out 3 in 3 innings. That's a lot of threes. It was a 12-5 extra innings loss to Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Also in AAA, Calgary's Michael Soroka continues rehabbing from injury with the Charlotte Knights. He's made 3 relief appearances this month, allowing no runs and no hits, while walking just 1 and striking out 7 in 4 innings. With the Chicago White Sox really well out of playoff contention, it'll be interesting to see if Soroka gets called back up or if they let him ease into the offseason. Matt Lloyd continues his fantastic 2024 season with the AA Springfield Cardinals. The Cards took Game 1 of their best-of-3 series with the Arkansas Travelers 4-1 Tuesday, thanks to homers from Chase Davis and this one from Lloyd.
And Carvello's first pitch, swinging a drive to right field. Going back is Rodriguez to the track, turning around, it's gone! Matt Lloyd with a solo home run into the bullpen in right field. And the Cardinals add on. It's 4-1 Springfield here in the top of the 9th.
The Dogs product at .269 with 17 homers, 77 RBI, and 16 stolen bases this season. Big congrats to Lloyd's friend and fellow Dogs alum Dane Tofflin on being named the Rocky Mountain Vibes Unsung Hero Award winner. The Grand Prairie native and episode 155 guest hit .313 with 17 homers and 77 RBI in 91 games during the Pioneer League season. And the legend of Tugboat continues. Matt Wilkinson made the start for the Lake County Captains in Game 2 of their best-of-3 Midwest League Championship Tuesday night, going 6 2/3, allowing 2 runs on 7 hits and 5 strikeouts, leaving to a standing ovation.
Hit .252 in 74 games. 1-2. Slider swung on and missed. Laporte Sider deals. And he gets him swinging.
Campaign. He's 0-2. Got him swinging. Here's the pitch.
Bullseye for strike 3. 0-2 pitch. Swing and a foul tip into Jacob Cozart's glove for strike 3.
The Captains went on to win the game over the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers 6-2 to force a third and deciding game Wednesday, which they went on to win 9-4 to claim the title.
The 2-2. Fly ball, shallow center, Fox runs in, he makes the catch! That's your ball game! The day has been seized, and the 14-year voyage is complete! For the second time in franchise history, and the first time since 2010, your Lake County captains are Midwest League champions!
As for Wilkinson, the Dogs product went 8-6 during the regular season with a 1.90 ERA, striking out 174 batters in just 118 plus innings of work. And yes, he can now add Midwest League champion to his resume. The next time we see him on the bump will likely be in AA in 2025. On to this week's guests now, and we're going to stay with the Cleveland Guardians system. As mentioned, Eric Sabrowski continues to make a name for himself on the big league squad, likely cementing his spot on the roster as the Guardians head towards the playoffs. One person who has seen him at almost every step along his baseball journey is Taylor Burns, the Absolute Human Performance owner. Coach Sabrowski in St. Albert and has helped him through 2 Tommy John surgeries and the recoveries. It was an emotional time seeing him get called up, and now every Guardians game is can't miss TV in the AHP headquarters.
Taylor, welcome back to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me on.
The last time you and I chatted, it was all about your baseball journey, but in the process, your baseball journey has mixed in with someone else's baseball journey. When I mention the name Eric Sabrowski, what comes to mind?
It's tough for me to I think put it into words. I guess the first word that just popped in my head would just be proud. It's beyond surreal, beyond incredible to see him, reach the absolute highest level, and he's finding some real success early. And as somebody that, I've had the privilege of knowing and coaching for over 10 years, it's amazing to see him, achieve that goal that so few do.
Talk a little bit about the trials and tribulations of this year to start. And we'll start, when he starts out in AAA and he has that little bit of a hiccup. Are you talking to him? Are you talking him through things? Walk us through his mindset maybe as he's bouncing between AA and AAA.
Yeah, we chat pretty regularly, and I know obviously it was tough to get sent down there a little bit, and I think the big thing he said and we chat about was basically when we went to AA, he just kind of was like, I'm better than these guys, and I'm going to pitch like it and pitch a little bit angry. Those were his words, kind of what I remember. Mm-hmm. And obviously it worked. He showed that he could absolutely dominate that level. And then I think when he got brought back up to AAA, it was just about bottling that up. It's that everyone's seen that interview he gave, and the words he used were, it's still just baseball. So kind of the same thing is I think he did a great job when he went back to AAA to keep his process the same, and not giving the hitters too much respect. And then I'm going to say that probably now at the MLB level, he's probably bottled that up as well and tried to keep that same mentality of, my stuff is pretty good. I'm going to attack you.
So take us back to the end of August there. When did you get a bit of an inkling that maybe he might be getting a phone call soon?
Well, I kind of, I had a bit of a feeling as he continued to pitch how he did that he'd have a chance, especially with the Guardians having the success they were. And, I think that teams value having 2 lefties, in the pen down the stretch and in the playoffs. And then I didn't want to get my hopes up, but when I saw that they had taken a lefty reliever off of 40-man, I actually texted Connor and Ethan and I said, let's not get our hopes up, but maybe there's a window here. And then I think it was 5 to 7 days later that they made the move.
So they make the move, and obviously it's made official a little bit later than when Eric finds out. When Eric finds out and he makes that phone call to you, what goes through your head?
Oh, it was emotional. I think I said, I think I got a call at 11 p.m. or whatever. I was in bed, and I saw his name pop up, and I was like, well, this is either really bad or really good. And he just basically said, I think he said, I'm a big leaguer, we did it. Probably the coolest words I've ever had, or ever had spoken to me. And I couldn't say anything. And I think he said to me, well, first time I've ever got you speechless.
That's fantastic. So then how frenetic is the next couple of days there? Because I assume you're trying to book air flights, and then you're also trying to figure out when Eric might even get a chance to play in a game, let alone anything else.
Yeah, for sure. I immediately, because they were playing the next day, and I immediately tried to see if I could get there for the next day, but that wasn't going to be possible. And then they had the day off, so I was able to I booked a flight or whatever and got down there. And then, yeah, I mean, for me too, is with the business and everything, it's pretty crazy, and so it was also a blessing. I was like, oh man, I get to just go away for 3 days.
Mm-hmm. How cool is it to be sitting in an MLB park and taking a picture outside of a dugout with a guy that you've known for as long as you've known him, getting ready for the possibility of him making his MLB debut?
Again, I think I keep using this word, but just incredible. As somebody who that was my dream, and obviously playing baseball, it was every one of my teammates' dreams, right? It's everyone's goal, and to just see, honestly, anybody reach that pinnacle, it's amazing. And so for Eric, someone I truly do care about so much, to get to do that, it's just amazing.
Talk a little bit about the trials and tribulations of waiting as well, because as a bullpen guy, there's no guarantee, and especially with that bullpen, they've kind of got their 7th inning, 8th inning, 9th inning guys pretty much cemented, so you're kind of in hurry up and wait.
Yeah, I mean, especially when they're in a pennant race, right? So, the game and the score is going to dictate who gets used and when they get used, and also they had a little stretch there right when he got called up where the starters went on a really good run, and it's just he did an amazing job of, I think, not even thinking that it had been a long time. Just you almost have to fake it a little bit and trick yourself, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of it's sort of akin to I think an athlete not saying they're in a slump, just not putting those words into existence, and just just working while you wait and just being ready to go when your number is called. And I mean, obviously he did an awesome job in there when he finally was able to get his chance.
So how much Guardians baseball have you watched in the last couple of weeks here?
Pretty much every game. It's a lot more fun than being a Blue Jays fan, I'll tell you that much. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really cool how honestly, how organic my allegiances have changed. Especially as a diehard Jays fan, and 2016 they beat us in the ALCS and all that. But Eric is like a brother to me. So as he's on that team, and it's I am a diehard Guardians fan without a doubt.
Ian and I have talked about actually buying some swag in the not-too-distant future, because there's not only Eric, but a couple of other guys that have connections to this province and the Guardians too. So I got to ask, so now that he's made this, let's talk about that debut first off. And that first pitch goes airborne. Whether or not the catcher could have caught it or not, it's another question. But did you have that moment where your heart kind of jumped to your throat?
Oh, I'm so anxious. I mean, if you've coached, you learn that it's so much. You get so much more nervous as a coach than when you're playing, because you have no control. And so now you multiply that by a million, because it's his debut and he's had to wait so long, and it's in the big leagues. And he does that, and then it's 3-0, and I'm just heart rate through the roof, and just hoping for the best. And he did a great job of coming back.
He sure did.
Just making it exciting and making me nervous.
Blessing and a curse. Then the next game, so he goes and does what he does in game one, then he comes out game two. It's at Dodger Stadium of all places. How cool is that to see him making his debut in Dodger Stadium and striking out Freddie Freeman with his first batter?
Yeah, it was a pretty unbelievable first couple weeks for sure. That just shows, I've said it to anybody who will listen to me the last couple of years, that I really believed his stuff, not just his stuff, but his toughness and his mentality, that if he can make it, he's going to have success there. He truly is special, both from his arsenal to kind of how he attacks guys, and I think that was on full display right away.
Mm-hmm. Off the field, one of the big things that got everybody's attention was that emotional post game after the first game. Talk about what went through your mind as you're listening to him get emotional about making that MLB debut and really taking to heart the trials and tribulations that he's gone over the last 5 or so years?
Man, I think, it got me emotional. I don't think people understand even how challenging it is to come back from one arm surgery. And yes, like Tommy John now, for the most part, they do such a good job that, it's people will, let me put it this way. People will say it's Tommy John, it's straightforward. And like, yes, but it doesn't mean you don't have to put in 3 hours of diligent work with attention to detail day in, day out for a year. And then, it's incredibly meticulous. It's incredibly time consuming. It's demanding. You have to put in the time and the work and the effort. And that's a year of your life that you're missing out on what you love doing most. And while that's happening, more prospects are getting drafted and moving up, and and then to do that twice, a second time, that with just even without the surgeries, even just getting 5 years ago you're drafted, like so much sacrifice and work and effort and all of it to one day get a chance to be out there and do what he did. No wonder you get emotional about it. It's beyond rewarding.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned it a little bit there about the sky's the limit with this guy. He's a lefty. He throws really well. He's getting some attention now, not just from an MLB perspective, but is there a part of you that goes, man, Canada really could use that arm for a World Baseball Classic in the not too distant future?
Yeah, I think that's got to be a slam dunk, right? I don't know if there's ever been I don't know if there's been an MLB Canadian who didn't play unless they chose not to, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, it'd be a no-brainer, of course.
How cool would it be to see him rep Canada?
It'd be amazing, yeah, no doubt.
Talk a little bit about what you see as the ceiling for Eric Sabrowski now that he's made that jump to MLB. Like
him and I, we've already chatted a little bit about this offseason. I think last offseason was excellent. Put him in a position to take the ball more often and all that stuff. And so I think we're once the season ends, we're excited to try and add 2-3 miles an hour if we can, because his stuff is the fastball rides at such an elite level. If we can add a couple more ticks, I think that'll help him even more. I think it's just like I said, I believe in his toughness and resilience and his mentality even more than his stuff.
A bit of a selfish plug here, but at the same time, how excited are you to get him in the facility? And I know he's coached with your academy program in the past during his off seasons. How excited are you to have him there to maybe impart some wisdom and some tools for some of those younger kids who are maybe just starting out on their baseball journeys, or maybe even some of the older kids who are looking to take their game to the next level?
Well, yeah, selfishly, I guess for 3 big reasons why I love having him around is, number one, now I think it is, I've read some books about it and stuff where it's so important for younger athletes to see that something like this is possible. So for, a kid in our facility or an Edmonton area kid, an Alberta kid, to see that, okay, Eric was where I was at one point and it's possible to make it. And that just opens, I think it's a really important piece to maybe open up the floodgates. Okay, so that's huge just in terms of kids. Now the goal isn't maybe to play when I was going through it, the goal was I thought the ceiling was college. Mm-hmm. Right? Honestly, making the MLB seemed insane, but I don't think now to these kids it probably will seem insane, if that makes sense, and that's incredibly powerful. And then second, it's just Eric. If you know Eric, he's a fun guy. So as someone who I enjoy when he's just around, not just working, but he makes work more fun for me, both training him and when he is working with me. And then third, he's a really good coach too, on the baseball side, but also he helps me a lot on the strength conditioning side because he's trained so long. He knows all the exercises, and having done 2 rehabs, he knows all the little intricate arm care exercises too. So having him around is I can't even quantify the benefit, I think, to our athletes for sure.
You mentioned not just the having a pro and if you can see it, you can be it kind of mentality, but even from the standpoint of here's a 26-year-old who went through 2 surgeries, there's going to be a lot of kids who, when they go through their first surgery or if they face some adversity, at 21, 22, 23, they think the dream's over. That's certainly not the case because Eric's proven that to be incorrect.
Yeah, 100%. I think not that getting hurt isn't failure, but I think the best of the best in any endeavor understand that failure is just a springboard to success, right? And so he is the absolute shining example of that, in my opinion. And for not just AHP athletes, but even not even just Canadians. It's a really remarkable story in and of itself, no matter where you're from. And I think it's like you said, it shows kids that maybe it's a dark place when you have to go under the knife. And that first little while, you think like I had shoulder surgery, and there's a while there where you're just like, how will I ever throw a baseball again? And it's nice to see examples of it is possible to get back better than I was before.
Absolutely. Final question for you here, Taylor. When you look ahead and you get, how excited are you to see what potential Eric can tap here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I'm beyond excited. It's such a privilege to work with elite athletes and really all athletes. But more than a privilege, it's a real responsibility when someone essentially trusts you to kind of come up with the plan and to guide them, and they really are putting their career in your hands in terms of what exercises should I do? How often, when, what, right? It really is. It's a big responsibility that can't be taken lightly. And I mean, honestly, to be quite frank, it's a dream come true for me. For just Eric getting to achieve what he achieved, but also for me, to have the opportunity to help a big leaguer try and get even better.
Well, fantastic stuff. Fantastic to watch him, and can't wait to see what's next for Eric Sabrowski. Taylor Burns, always a pleasure getting to touch base with you. Really appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Anytime. It's awesome to be on with you.
We'll stay in the pro circuits with our next guest, who we mentioned last week. It's been a couple of years since Dog's product, Clayton Keyes, was last on the show. He helped Southwestern win the NAIA World Series back in 2022. And since then, it's been a tumultuous time as he's tried to get a door open to pro baseball, first through the Hamilton Cardinals of the Intercounty League before heading to the Evansville Otters this summer. He only played in 10 games for the team thanks to work visa issues, so we caught up with Keyes about all the trials and tribulations. Clayton, thanks so much for joining us back here on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be back.
Quite the journey since we last chatted. Hard to believe it's been a couple of years already. Let's start with this past summer, though, making your pro debut with the Evansville Otters. How did it feel to get that one under your belt?
Oh, man. It was a little nerve-wracking, to be honest, with all the waiting I had to do. About 5 months, 6 months of waiting. When I finally got down there, it was kind of weird at first, just the whole pro lifestyle. Had to get used to it. But, once I got the first at-bat out of the way, I felt right at home. And I knew that's where I needed to be.
Let's talk about the journey to that point. You mentioned the 5 to 6 month wait. Talk about the ebbs and flows and challenges of getting your work passport or your work visa ready to go.
Well, it actually started in the fall of 23. I was actually with Alan Cox coaching in Myrtle Beach, and we were trying to figure out what route to take, in terms of where I can go play. And some things kind of didn't go the way I wanted them to, I guess. So I actually, in November of 23, I reached out to Greg Hamilton, and he had some connections. He reached out to a few guys, and the next day I had a call from the GM in Evansville. And so I talked to him for a little bit, and a month later had my contract signed. And then January of 24 was when I had submitted all my visa stuff, and then it was like first week of February was when my visa got officially submitted and it was pending. And then for about 3 weeks, didn't hear anything. Reached out to my GM in Evansville, said it was pending. About a month later, reached out again, still the same thing, haven't heard back. And then they decided to get, they actually had the governor of Indiana call in for me to try and expedite that process. Because they did that for one of the other Canadian kids on my team, and he ended up getting his visa about 2 weeks later after that phone call. And it took about probably 2 more months for me to get mine. Not sure why, but yeah, it took a total of probably 6 months for me to actually get my visa approved and to get into the country.
You mentioned not sure why, now being able to look at it because it's kind of frenetic as you're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. But have you gotten an answer as to maybe the reason why things were left in the weeds for so long?
No, actually, I still don't know why. Everything that they told me, or well, actually, when we submitted all of the info that they needed, immigration, that is, they actually requested that info 3 more times throughout March to about June. They requested the same info we had already sent. So I was confused. My coaches were confused. Everyone was just basically like, what the hell is going on? And yeah, so they requested the same info 3 different times, and I guess third time's a charm.
Yeah, well, and it ended quite the ride for you. So while you're waiting for these papers, are you able to actually be down in Florida at all, or are you stuck here in Alberta or in Canada somewhere?
Yeah, no, I was stuck in Alberta at home. I wasn't able to. I mean, legally, I could have traveled just because there was no restriction or anything. But the thing was, I wasn't. If I were to go down to Evansville without that visa, I wasn't able to play, wasn't able to work or anything. So I just figured, might as well stay at home, get my training in while I wait.
You end up spending some time in Okotoks. You're coaching a little bit up there or down there as well, and then you end up in Edmonton
Yeah.
for a bit. Talk about being able to, at the very least, give back to the game a little bit while you're up here.
Oh man, yeah, it was a little bit like I needed it. It was after my last year at Southeastern, things didn't really go the way I wanted to. And then I ended up playing in the IBL actually the summer of 23 over in Hamilton. And the end of that season also didn't really go the way I wanted it to on both sides with the Cardinals and with me. So I was pretty lost for about 3, 4 months after that. So it was good to finally, get back to being me, the baseball player.
So take us to August 21 and your first start. You get your first hit as well. Alan posts a photo of that baseball. You've got it signed saying this is your first start, your first hit. Where's that baseball right now?
That baseball is actually currently sitting on my girlfriend's shelf. She really wanted it, so I gave it to her. I still have yet to sign it for her, but it's sitting on the shelf there.
Working
Her
pro.
and my mom might have to fight for it.
Fair enough. Take us into that moment though when you do get that start. Do you kind of take that moment to take a step back and go, after a long, long road, I'm finally here?
Yeah, it was a little bit. So actually, the night before my first start, I got a pinch hit in the 8th inning. We were, I can't remember if we were up or down, but 8th inning, I'm not sitting at the end of the dugout, just chatting with a few guys on my team, and my coach comes over and is like, "Hey, you're hitting this inning." And I was like, "Okay, sweet." So like, I didn't really have time to, I guess, like be nervous or think about anything. I just went, grabbed my bat, batting gloves, all that. And I actually walked on 4 pitches that first at bat. And so the next day, I just kind of I didn't know if I was going to be starting the next day or anything, but I showed up and saw the lineup, saw my name in there, and I was like, all right, here we go. So kind of having that at bat the night before helped me kind of get the nerves out of the way, I guess, for lack of a better term. Just, relax and just remember it's just a kid's game that we're playing.
With hindsight obviously being 2020, how grateful are you to have been able to finally get through that chapter and maybe start looking kind of that onwards and upwards mindset now?
Yeah, I'm really grateful for Andy over in Evansville for taking a chance on me. Greg got me the opportunity, and Andy, not knowing, he knew my track record, that kind of stuff, but with me not playing for about a year, he kind of, that contract he gave me was kind of him like taking a chance on me. And with that, I'm just extremely grateful for the people that I have in my life that are able to help me with things like that. So yeah, it's really surreal just knowing the kind of people that I have around me that are willing to help me out.
How one of those people that has been in your back corner, I mentioned him a little bit earlier, but he's been your biggest cheerleader on social media, it seems as though. What's Alan Cox mean to you?
Oh, dude, I mean, he's like a second father to me. I've known him since I was 13. He was the one who recruited me to go to Okotoks. Yeah, it's trying not to get emotional here talking about him, but he has meant a lot to me. On the field, off the field. Like I said, he's like a second father to me. It's really big to have him in my life.
One of the things that I've kind of noticed this year is it feels like it's been sort of the year of, I'll call it retribution, or the year of the comeback almost. Eric Sabrowski, as an example, comes back from 2 Tommy John surgeries, makes his MLB debut. Matt Lloyd was almost written off, it feels like, and goes and plays for Team Canada and has been tearing it up in Double-A as an example. You get to come back in this way. How driven are you to make sure that you can maybe prove some doubters wrong and put all of the challenges of the last couple of years behind you and really hit in 2025 in a big way?
Yeah, I mean, it was yeah, it was really exciting to see Lloyd's journey. Just because I've been really close with him ever since I got to Okotoks. I've known him since I was 13 as well. So to see his journey, go down. He got released by the Reds, went and played in Mexico, went and played indie ball, and then get picked up by the Cardinals. And to see the things that he's doing in Double-A with them now, it just gives me all that more motivation, because I'm in the similar boat. I'm playing indie ball now, trying to get into affiliate. So guys like that, it just helps me realize that, I'm able to do that. I'm 25 now, and the age thing, it's kind of big in baseball. There's that fine line. But for me, it's just gives me a lot of confidence, being able to do what I do, and just know that as long as I'm prepared, things may go my way.
What kinds of things do you figure you got to work on over the next little while here this off season to make sure that you're hitting the ground running and making a big first impression when you hit the field again in 25?
Honestly, just getting at bats. I'm trying to find a spot to play winter ball this year, just because I think I only had 25 some at bats like that this year, with the 10 games that I played. So just getting at bats. I know what I can and can't do on the field. So just having that game plan, basically is just, yeah, that's really all it is. I just need to get some more ABs, and I think I'm ready to go. Everything else feels perfect.
Well, and you're sitting in Florida right now. Talk about being able to maybe avoid the winter and have that ability to train and do the things that you need to do to maybe make up for some lost time.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a plus being out here, especially for those winter months. If I don't end up getting a contract for winter ball somewhere, then I can be outside and train here all day. In December, January, when guys up north aren't able to do that. And I have some people down here, some great connections down here, and I'll be able to get everything I need done before I end up going back to Evansville.
Do you have any goals or expectations of yourself heading into next season?
I wouldn't really say any expectations. Goals for me is really just trying to be the same player that I always was. Try not to get too down on myself when things don't go my way, or, have a bad couple games, something like that. Just keeping the confidence, knowing in my ability and trusting in the process.
How much fun was it getting back onto the field again after that long wait?
Oh, dude. It was unbelievable. I like just now after asking that question, it's like I felt the chills that I got the first time stepping on that field. I'm just really grateful for the opportunity I was given, and just being able to still play the game that I've always loved.
You mentioned earlier that you had the opportunity to do a little bit of coaching at Dogs while you were back up here, and I know that you've tried to give back in different ways. You were up at AHP for a little bit as well, training, and you see those young kids who are just starting out on their journeys, and obviously you're still going through yours, but what are some of those big pieces of advice or those words of wisdom that you're liking to impart upon them, especially as you're going through some of the trials and tribulations on the fly like you were?
I honestly, with all the kids that I have come across, whether I've coached them or just been able to work with them while getting my work in, I just try to remind them that, it's a kid's game. And luckily now I'm able to get paid to play a kid's game. And for them, some of the guys, they're still in school or still in high school. A lot of guys that I worked with were in college as well. So just basically just reminding them, it's a kid's game that we're able to play. Don't get too down on yourself. Don't get too up either, because that's no bueno.
Mm-hmm.
But just, keeping the right mindset and staying focused on whatever goals that they have.
Fantastic stuff. Well, final question for you, Clayton. I know I asked you this a couple of years ago, but I'm curious how things have changed, especially after the journey took a few forks in the road. What's the game of baseball mean to you?
Oh, it still means everything to me. Since I was a kid, it's been my goal to play professional baseball. And now that I have gotten a little taste of that, all I want is more, So I'm going to be working my butt off this offseason, and hopefully for years to come.
We definitely hope that as well, Clayton. Really appreciate the catch-up. Congrats on getting back into the field. Congrats on that pro debut. Looking forward to much more in the future. And again, thanks so much for coming back on the show.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on.
And finally, we head back to the Canadian Future Showcase for another player profile. This time, it's Max Poirier, who's covered off Canada's three westernmost provinces, being born in Saskatchewan, raised in BC, and now moving to Alberta to join Dogs Academy. The 17-year-old right-hander has a lot of upside and has many people excited about what's to come once he's done high school in 2025. We caught up before he boarded the flight to Toronto.
Max, thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Yeah, no problem.
What a year it's been for you. Let's start with what's still to come, though. Canadian Future Showcase in a couple of weeks. How excited are you to be heading to Toronto?
I'm pretty excited. It's a pretty cool experience, a very unique experience to kind of play and be in the same stadium that you see a bunch of your major leaguers play at. And it's just a cool opportunity to just really show yourself, to compare yourself to all the players all around Canada.
You went last year. What did you take away from that experience that you're hoping to take into this year?
It was pretty cool because that was my first time really playing against players from all over Canada, so I could see how I measured up to that. I'm excited to go back this year because I think I've developed more and I can compete more with some of those older players.
Do you have any expectations or goals of yourself heading in?
No, I just hope I do well because it feels better when you do well at a showcase like that to show yourself out in front of, university scouts that'll be there and maybe 1 or 2 major league scouts. Yeah.
Aside from the playing element, a lot of guys say it's a good opportunity to learn and network and that kind of thing. You were there last year. Anything in particular you're hoping to maybe gain out of this experience from a baseball knowledge perspective?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm just more looking forward to having fun there and playing with guys that you know and guys that you'll learn and grow from throughout your career.
A lot of familiar faces, as you mentioned there. You were on the junior national team this past summer. What was that opportunity like?
It was super cool, surreal. It's been a goal of mine for about 2 or 3 years to try and make that team. And when I got the call from Greg, I almost couldn't contain myself. I told my parents immediately, and we were super happy to go down there and represent Canada, your country. And it was one of the best feelings in the world for me.
Take us back to that phone call. Were you expecting it, and where were you?
I wasn't really expecting it. We just came back I was back home in BC, and we just came back from the ocean. I took a quick dip into the ocean, and I checked my missed calls, and I saw I had a missed call from a number and had Baseball Canada underneath. And so I'm like, oh my God, Mom, look who this is. So I phoned back, and it turned out to be Greg, and yeah, I wasn't expecting it at all, but yeah, it was amazing.
Was it hard to hit the send button because you're shaking a little bit?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to sit down and control yourself a little bit because it's kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity, and you never know when you'll get it again. So it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Did you get all the feels when you saw that Team Canada jersey and pulled it on for the first time?
Yeah. I was talking to a couple of my teammates on the junior national team. I said the coolest part for me is put on the Team Canada jersey and the Team Canada hat, and really feeling like you have the country behind you, and it's it's a great feeling.
Absolutely. How do you feel you performed in the Canada jersey?
I think I did okay. I could have been better, but I was pretty happy overall because, again, this is the best competition in all North America and a little bit of Central America too. You can really see how you compare up to millions and millions and millions of players, and the best of those players meet in North Carolina and Panama, and it was super cool.
What'd you learn about yourself or maybe about your game coming out of that?
I learned to have a lot of work to do. You definitely play some of those teams are definitely bigger and more physical, like the American team. And me being a less physical guy, I definitely learned that I have to get more strength in my body. And I guess also just not compare yourself against those guys. Just try your best out there.
How excited are you for the potential of maybe doing that again at some point down the road?
Yeah, I'm super excited for that because hopefully I can keep on representing Canada, and hopefully I can keep on just trying my best and playing against some of the best competition in the world, the best players in the world.
Let's get into your baseball past a little bit here. You're the product of Nanaimo, BC. How'd you get into the game in the first place?
Well, my dad's originally from Regina, Saskatchewan, and so am I actually too.
Oh, okay.
And my dad and my mom, and I was really big into soccer when I was younger. But then my dad showed me baseball because I watched him play in a little town called Yorkton, Saskatchewan.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched him play, and I was like, oh, this looks pretty fun. And we played catch a little bit, and I love playing catch with my dad still to this day. And then I just kind of continued with baseball, kept playing it. I enjoyed it, and I excelled it at some degrees, and I just kept going with it, I guess.
Aside from soccer, were there other sports that were on your radar, or was it basically all baseball all the time after that point?
Yeah, it was mostly baseball, soccer. I kept playing soccer until I was about 14, until I dropped for baseball. But cool. Yeah, now it's baseball all the way.
Very cool. Talk a little bit about the Dogs experience and how you end up in Alberta, in between the two provinces that you're originally from.
Yeah, so I was at the Toronto Blue Jays Showcase last year, and one of the Dogs coaches saw me there, and he liked something I had. And he went back to the Dogs facility and showed me to the coach a little bit. And then on October 31st, actually, I remember this. On October 31st, we received an email from Tyler Hollick of the Dogs. And he said, hey, we would like to set up a call with you to try to recruit you to come to Dogs. And we were super happy because we were thinking about going to Dogs actually that year. And so it worked out perfectly because they reached out to us, which was amazing. So we set up a call, and then they recruited us, and they said,
you can come September or February, and we said sooner the better. So I came in February of last year, and it's been a great experience since.
Very cool. So talk us through this experience a little bit and what it's meant to your, not just your growth as a baseball player, but as a human being as well.
Yeah, well, one thing I remember Tyler Hawk said when he recruited me is that the most important thing for them is to recruit good people with good character. And I really noticed here, like, everyone here is super nice, very kind, and very inclusive. Like, as an outsider I was when I first came in here, I was nervous, but it definitely helped when guys stepped into the role and kind of introduced me to other people and to the program, what to do there. The coaches are amazing too, like, super nice. They've helped me develop. I know my pitching coach, Jeff Dew, has really helped me on some of my pitches this past year. And it's just, yeah, it's amazing.
A lot of people have been talking about this latest Dogs Academy team, the 18U team, and saying, man, this is one of the better teams that they've ever put together. Take us inside that dugout. What makes that group of players so special together?
I think it's just that we all have one common goal, and that's we want to play together as a team and win together as a team. Honestly, like last year, there's a big core group of guys. A lot of those guys are gone now, but with those big core group of guys, they can really establish how the team kind of rolls and the chemistry of the team. And the group of guys last year were amazing, so we definitely established a very good chemistry and very good just positivity in the dugout.
One of the things that you've had the opportunity of doing is whether it be showcases or futures games or all kinds of things. But when you look back on the young career to this point, do you have any favorite memories or moments where you kind of had to take that step back and go, man, I can't believe I got to do that?
I think it was pretty cool to play on the junior national team. Like I said, it's a goal of mine. Something I've had dreams about, and yeah, it was so cool to really feel like all that work that I put in over these past couple of years has really added up. All those 6 a.m. gym sessions and those afternoon workouts and practices and everything together just kind of added up like building blocks to get to that point. And it's just super cool to get there.
100%. On the flip side of that, we talk about baseball being a game of failure. When you look back on it, what's been that biggest struggle or obstacle that you've had to overcome?
Probably the mental side. I was definitely a little weaker mentally when I was younger. I would always get down if I thought I pitched poorly or if I compared myself to other guys before. And so my dad would talk me through it almost after every game. And those talks have really helped because now I just have learned to appreciate myself for who I am, what I can do, and just embrace myself for what's to come.
What's to come is a lot of good things. You are uncommitted to this point, although you still have a lot of time left. You're not graduating for another few months here, but what are you looking for in a school? Talk us through the mindset as you're looking at possibilities either here in Canada or back down south in the U.S.
I'm just looking for a really good baseball program that has a very good pitching coach. Just one that has a record of just developing really good players and just developing a good team in general, and just that's it really.
Very cool. On the academic side, they do call it a student athlete, so I'd be remiss when you're heading down there. Do you have an idea as to what you want to take in school?
I'm not 100% certain right now, but I definitely like something like maybe the biology field or even criminology field. I've kind of find criminal justice or like law very interesting, so maybe something in that field.
Very cool. I like that, and especially keeping the mind open, because as someone who changed careers a few times, you're never too late to learn, so kudos to you on that. A couple more for you before we let you go here, Max. A couple of standard ones we ask here. When you're talking to those young kids, they're maybe starting out in their baseball journeys, and they want to get to where you're at now or aspiring for bigger things, what's your number one piece of advice or those words of wisdom that you like to pass along to them?
Just keep going, no matter how poorly you think you're doing or how good you think you're doing or how you feel or just keep going, keep pushing. Like, you never know what's to come because you can never predict the future. A lot of things can happen, so just always try your best.
Absolutely. And the final one we ask everybody, what does game baseball mean to you?
It's definitely probably the biggest thing in my life. I really can't imagine what I would be doing if it wasn't for baseball. It's really just helped me create a bond, especially with my dad. He's introduced that sport to me, just bonds with players I've played with, coaches I've played under, just lots and lots of great memories. Some of my best memories are through baseball. And I hope there's still a bunch of memories yet to come with baseball.
Oh, we're certain that that will definitely happen, and it all starts in a couple of weeks. Max, congrats on all the success to this point. Continued success with the Dogs, the Future Showcase, and so much more. And again, thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks again to Taylor Burns, Clayton Keyes, and Max Poirier for joining us this week, and thanks to all of you for downloading and listening. If you like this or any other episode, make sure to leave us a rating and review on your podcast app. Those actions help spread the word about ADS. As always, a tip of the cap to our Platinum supporters, the Okotoks Dogs, Western Canadian Baseball League, and Under the Lights Sports and Entertainment for their generosity in helping us cover costs like web hosting fees and travel. If you'd like to join our roster of supporters, head to albertadugoutstories.com/supporters. Until next time, thank you for all of your support online, on social, and on air of Alberta Dugout Stories.